and the testimony of Ethiopia. To give thanks and eyes unto the name of the living I, Majesty, Highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari. God, the asset shown of judgment, the shown of the house of David. Pray for the love of Jerusalem, for they that prosper that love thee. Love within thy wall and prosperity in thy palaces. For thy brethren and companions' sake, I will now say love within thee. Because of the house of the living I, and Majesty, Highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari, and I know will continue to seek I love forever and ever. Show the four wings of the heavens, and show the four wings of the earth. Show a great, mighty, and praiseworthy name. Highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari. And I was glad when I said unto and I come, let us go into the house of the living I, and thy feet must stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is built of a city that's compact together. Behold how good and how pleasant it is for thy brethren to dwell together in unity. Like a precious ointment upon the head that went upon the beard, even thy beard that went up the skirt of thy garment. As you have heard, man, Judah sent upon the mount of Zion. For thee the Most High, eternal, immortal, never living, wise, highly I, Selassie I, at commanding blessing, even life forever and ever. So let the word of thy mouth and the meditation of thy heart be freely acceptable in thy sight, O thou Most High, and thy strength and thy Redeemer, the I will long live and reign forever and ever. So the I word the lamp unto thy feet and the light unto thy path. Part of the Almighty's mercy and truth to such that keep his covenant and his testimony. For thy name's sake, O thou Most High, pardon our hypocrisy and blot out our transgression. So that thine eye can behold thy face in glory, even now, henceforth, and forever, through a great, mighty, and praiseworthy name. Highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari. And thy supreme majesty, highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari. Eternally, Holy King of Zion, conquering land of the tribe of Judah, highly I, Selassie I, King RasTafari. Live and reign forever and ever. Blessed and I, sanctify and I, and cast the eye with thy divine countenance to continue to shine upon I and I. And I must be free from all the will of our enemies, both now and forever. Selah. Give thanks, I.
Last one.
Well, thank you for allowing us to do the video and song. Okay? And for the purpose of those who are embarking on Rastafari, can you tell us how the Rastafari movement started?
That is a big history, you know.
Mm.
It's a great portion. We are they that coming out of the tomb where we were buried.
Mm.
And the glad tiding and our historical foundation by the pirates of the earth was laid down to the deepest depths of the earth. But now since Messiah's return, it come to the surface that every eyes have to behold it.
Mm.
So our history pertaining to the coming up from, especially in this resurrection, 1930, when His Majesty sit up and really established His throne to the four wings of the earth and heaven. So, and I've seen from such time, 1930, even up to this time, we have seen a great manifestation of the works of the Father, you know, by bringing I and I together. You know, early days in the 20th century coming up, we had a great prophet by the name of Honorable Marcus Garvey, who enlightened our knowledge, Africa for the African, those at home and those abroad. And that was well appreciated among the black people. And it was a message for us that are in the grave. And that's what part of our first rising, our mind repatriated to Africa. I believe in that time, 3/4 of Jamaica black people were repatriate their mind and their spirit to Africa. And in 1930, His Majesty fulfill his word. As the second event accomplished, then we have seen the works come before us plainly and very smoothly. Yet we have great tribulation into a scene. We had a brethren that by the name of Bongo Watu, David Howell, who was in Ethiopia 1930. He was a Jamaican. And then he agreed to get to attend the coronation of His Majesty. And as soon as the coronation was accomplished, he returned to Jamaica. And then he started to plant this seed in the name of His Majesty, I Selassie, King RasTafari. And as we have received advice from our great prophet Marcus Garvey in that early time, say a king shall rise and crown in Africa, and we must lift up our head for our repatriation drawing near. So we have seen that fulfillment. And Bongo Watu, David Howell, really manifests a great work in the name of His Majesty, I Selassie in Jamaica. And that was a great triumphant victory that we have against the enemies. Yes. And from then time coming on is a great tribulation. Great tribulation. Yeah, I tell you something, so well, thousands of our brethren gone down the drain. As I said, that prophet I waited for died without a sight. You know, and we have seen many of our brethren gone down through Babylon brutality, through you call it seduction. Some in those early days, some of the brethren through Babylon was so terrible against the Rastas in Jamaica. Some had to live in the hoods. Malnutrition, devour plenty, and then the force of Babylon destroy plenty. But I'm glad today to see how the world covered.
Yeah.
You know, that even the enemy himself want to try to be a friend of an eye.
Yeah.
You know, but through the power of His Majesty, then we give thanks.
About the early days, tell us a bit more about the actual position you were in as Rasta, trying to spread the word to the rest of the people.
During my youth years coming up, you know, as a youth, start this campaign from I was 13 years old. Go around the street, preaching RasTafari, hear the voice of our elder brother Howell, and by that we use our scripture, because His Majesty says Ethiopian carry the oldest version. So he taught from his youthful days was to respect, you know, yes, the history of Ethiopia. So that is what we have to use for our strength as a black man history, the scripture. And going around from day to day around the street, preaching in the name of His Majesty. That's how we have great tribulation. I have myself, I was cast in prison several times.
Preaching the word.
I becomes a little prison, a little jail bird for Babylon. You know, then just take I and throw in a jail as them like. Sometimes a jail for 20 years, 30 days, sometimes 40 days with no charge at all. And not in jail, not in that alone, but beaten too.
The fear of actually taking on.
Yeah, you know. I was charged and cast in prison one time, 18 months for rioting. I sure I was committing a riot. You see? I was charged again for the breach of prison law, cast in prison another year again, and I charged with herb another year again. You see, so plenty of my days in my years coming up, plenty of my days spent in jail and prison. You see?
It's to where you are.
And for this cause, you know,
Yeah.
not stealing, nor lying to no one, nor try to disturb anyone, but I try to disturb the spirit of men of his righteousness. You know, and I'm glad for the inspiration that the Father given to I, you know, that I could hear to share this among my brethren. And whosoever have a ear to hear, let him hear. And our nation, Father, I command us to preach his doctrine to our nation, kings of the earth, and all people, until the end come. So in our days coming up, man, there was very great tribulation. 1966, His Majesty came to Jamaica, and that's where we have our changes. At least 1960, we took up a conversation with the university in Jamaica, and we have one of our teacher at the university, by the man by the name of Arthur, the chancellor. The chancellor was a man by the name of Arthur Lewis. He was a black man, and he hear our voice, and then start to send out some researchers to research among Rasta and the police what causes long war among Rasta and police. You know what I mean? Well, from then time you find to say we work up on that 1960 very much, and we get them to drift back a little. But when His Majesty came 66 now, that was an example to all of them. You know, His Majesty told them to leave them alone. I have myself standing in the presence of His Majesty, and there was a superintendent policeman named by the name of London, who in 1954 we had a march through the city, and he carried us about 34 hours, and like I down to jail, and start the march and lock we down to jail, and we spent 32 days in jail, and when he did ask I for, when you want to join up the march, the superintendent asked I for permit. So where's the permit? And I handed him my Bible. I already had my Bible in my hand. So I just handed him my Bible and he took it from I. So in the court now, when the judges ask him about how do he attack us on the street, then it says, as you know, it says so the judges, as you know, the police force have a right to stop whatsoever not looking right on the street. So then he asked us where our permit, and he pointed on our individual, said that one, hand him a Bible. So the judges really observed that, you know. Yes, very much. Well, at 1966 now, when His Majesty came, it was a said policeman that His Majesty, after I stand before His Majesty, was looking like I was looking at you, and His Majesty called the said superintendent policeman in shirt and we were, and says, ask that man why I'm going like so tired. The said policeman, London. And he came on to I and says, His Majesty said to us, why you growing like so tired? So I asked him the question again, what you say? His Majesty to ask why I grew my like so tired. He said, yes. And I asked him the question twice. He said, he doesn't believe me. I said, well, not to say he doesn't believe the eye that His Majesty gives us such question, you know. But all right, I said, all right, okay. Count the Most High to be right and call men the liar. So I started to give him the history of locks. I brought to him first the preceptical order of Hebrews 7.
That was my next question.
Yeah. And I asked, you know, I bring again the status order, the Nazarene order, number 6, And I bring him the saintical name, Revelation 14 and 7. And he was quite amazed with himself, but anyway, he turned to the king, and the king said to him, the king rise and said, warriors, traitors, be still and know that I am he. The king said again to them, says, you leave them alone, for they know what they are doing. They are right. So from that time, all police was withdrawn from Rasta. You know? So, travel on the journey, they really sometimes try to disturb Rasta and your herb. Now that is on the point now that, you know, that we have been working for years now to really get them fully underfoot. It's on the way that a policeman will see you on the street and disturb you, whether you be preaching or whether you be move or whatsoever it may be. The only attack him can attack you is herb.
Yeah.
With your herb, with the herb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the ganja. You know what I mean? That's on the way them attack you. And the way that most of a Rasta man be in the hands of Babylon from that time, he must find you with herb.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise from that, them don't disturb you. They come to our assembly, and them come in and them say herb on our table, abundantly sometimes. And you just have to stand up and go away. Because there are a law that extend that they must not go in the Rastaman assembly and disturb them.
So they can only stop you on the street.
When you pass on the street, then will stop you, and if you have heard, then will lock you down for that. You see. So that's what it reached today.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go to my next question. It says, what is the importance of dreadlocks? And can a person be a Rasta without having dreadlocks?
That is very hard, man. It is very hard. For you cannot save without the dread. And the dread alone can't save you. Because plenty one we have on the dread and still don't carry the liberty. For dread carries a high divine liberty. It doesn't just carry say, man, you put on your dread because you feel you put it on. But you must know your cause and purpose why you are put it on. Whenever time that you put on your dread, you must know that you're the one that is here to edify another one. You're one that's here to live a clean life among the people. You are one that is here to show the people what is wrong from what is right. So you must always convert your heart or relax itself according to the Psalm 109 teacher, by your precepts you shall not be wiser than your teachers. So I see that I who really walk within such field have taken always encouraging one-on-one, coming in the fullness, you know, that you must be a person of a meek humility. You must be a person of a charity heart. You must be a person of a loving spirit. For locks mean love. Locks don't mean hatred. Locks mean a great graduation to rise us up in the ancient time of the saintical people of the Most High. And without your locks, you cannot stand up as a saint of the Most High. Because the High says in the Revelation 2, in the Revelation 3, that He placed His name in your forehead. Revelation 14, Revelation 7, He placed His name in your forehead. He said in Revelation 14, I lo and stood upon Mount Sinai and saw 144,000 having their father's name in their forehead. These are they that come out of great tribulation. These are they that wash them robe in white and become clean. These are they that were not defiled by women. These are they that follow the Lamb wherever he goeth. These are so that I redeemed them from hurt from among men. You see, 144,000 having their father's name in their forehead. And without your locks, a man can't call the Rasta. If you don't have on your locks, no man call the Rasta. It's hard. I coming on the journey in those early days, and sometimes man through talking, he will give me a 7 name brother man. Yet you know have on your locks. But the man will call him brother man. you know, but him not have no locks, you know. So it get at that time, same time, he don't stand as a saint, or he don't stand up as a apostle, not a prophet. For both the apostle and the prophet and the saints, they are just one. You see, who walk within the order of righteousness and keep their garment, Revelation 9, keep their garment clean and spottable. You see? So these are the things now that they feel really plenty one that step out in this field today and really put on locks, then really just put on a hairstyle. But it's not a hairstyle. It's a reality to rise our people, to rise ourselves from the hands of the enemy. You see? And this way, this I say, for his glory, he shall cover the earth, it shall cover the earth as water covered the sea. And I give thanks for 1930, even myself, you know, coming up in those early times as a youthful one, you know, that really take up my locks. And those times I couldn't point out 5 or 6 brethren have on locks them time there. You know? And at least I know 3 brethren especially that used to carry them locks, but how them handle themselves is that them don't show up themselves boldly, so we say as a teacher among the people.
Yeah.
Them just have on the locks and people just scan them. They come like a piece of dirty rubbish or, you know what I mean, a piece of old cloth. No one will like see you. You're walking on the street, people look when you walk the other side. In those days, you know. And when I really start to really carry on our campaign, we give the early days we give our name the Youth Black Faith. And there's an army of us, you know, just 4 of us, 5 or 6 or 4 or 5 of us. And we declare that name the Youth Black Faith. And by coming up with the ages, we declare it now being the harder, you know, and things like that. So you're fine to say, in those are the vision touch eye. You know, by observing those brethren, the vision touch eye. And say, man, listen to the word of the scripture. For Luke 21 says, for my name's sake they shall kill some of you. They shall cast some of you in prison. They shall do all manner of evil falsely for my name's sake. You see? And they shall call you all manner of evil, they shall call you criminal for my name's sake. They shall handle you as a wrongdoer. They shall handle you as a wrongdoer. And when I search these matters and going through my scripture and search, I see that the saints of the Most High is really a people, a exiled people. According to the enemy. Come like we are in exile. You know? And I see the value of that. Touching to the history, the Ethiopian histories and all those type of thing there, when I observe, I see that every patriarch coming through the ages walk in that manner. And that pricked my heart for her, and I start put on my dread.
Did you say that, was that at the age of 13, did you say?
Huh?
When did you start wearing locks?
Yeah, man, at an early age, man, 16, 17.
Oh, very early.
Yeah. Yeah, you see. And I tell you for that cause we have great tribulation coming on the journey. Yes, great tribulation. You see, yeah.
Okay.
So your locks is really an example. Marcus Garvey said, Marcus gone. Garvey gone, but Marcus will here. So we are the mark man, you can see afar and see the mark man there. By the name of the Almighty. And the scripture says, as you see them, so you can say, yes, see one of them there. They say, according to the scripture, Psalms 22, these are they that put their trust in the Almighty and say that the Almighty will save them. You see what I mean? But the enemy say, let him save you. Seeing that you put your trust in the Most High, because he is here to destroy you. So by the confidential security of the Almighty, we just walk through those streets and spread this good time. Today, I give thanks to see that the locks cover the earth. And the children of the enemy today are wearing locks. The children of the enemy wearing locks.
Can you tell us a bit about the divinity of the Imperial Majesty?
Well, His Majesty, I bind hard of such divinity is unspeakable. It's not a simple one, yet it is plain to them that understand, and wise to them that find it knowledge. Well, the I say it is most precious than gold, even fine gold. The divinity of His Majesty, when one can cast that vision and really try to live it, you know. And the heat of the terrible, you know, eh? You have put on plenty heat on eye, you know.
Let's move it forward.
Yes, plenty heat, man.
Better?
Probably I make you just back a little further in. I should come up a little more. I should say that. It's a little heat, terrible, man.
It's bright.
You feel it hot here?
Yeah. Well, no, it's the bright.
Oh. Yes, so you find that the divinity of His Majesty is a very expensive one. And we see that when one tries to walk within such, you walk in the street of gold. But otherwise you walk in the street of fine gold. You see, and as he taught us that the first to know the steps of His divinity is he that speaketh truth, truth was righteousness, but the false tongue is deceit. He that speaketh the piercing of sword, the tongue of the wise is held. The lip of truth must be established forever, but a lying tongue is what for a moment. Lying lips is abomination to the Most High, but they that deal truly are His delight. So truth is the divinity of His Majesty. Truth. And when you are blocking the truth today, you are in trouble among your people. Your people will lickle you for the truth's sake. The people rather to know that you tell them liar, play a trick on them. Them love you in that manner. But when the time you start to block the truth, you know, you are vast of
hard
enemy.
to accept.
Your very mother and father forsake you. Of the truth's sake. Because I have seen this when I start to block these truth, these conversations, friend and family and all that things depart from you. For the truth's sake. To release Ethiopia, Africa to the nation, and the divinity of His Majesty is not an easy work that. You have vast quantity of enemies. You see. And but however, it learns us more wise mind. It learns us to be tenderly among our people. It learns us to be a meek one. It teaches us the way of charity. You see. So the divinity of His Majesty is a past finding out, a deeper depth and a higher heights, and a wider breadth. You see, it's not something that one can really just jump at it at that way. Yeah. Because the divinity of His Majesty, you have to observe the life that you live, to live with it. That is truth and right. And when you start to manifest what is true to the nation, or true to you, be truthful to yourself, then it gradually grows. And when you're meek, when you're humbleful, teach us a more wise mind. Teach you to use the discretion in a right and proper way. You know? That the day when come, one have to point in finger and say, yes, about truth. This one must be the servant of the Most High. That's what I teach us to really, you know, walk within these steps to bring our people, you know. We can appear to our people as a hooligan, or appear to people as some tyrants and all those things. We have to appear to our people as wise mind and try to, you know, graduate ourselves in that manner. As the eyes of the meek shall inherit the earth. Truly.
Okay. Could you tell us about the vows of the Nyabingi?
The vows of the Nyabingi?
Yeah.
In 1928, His Majesty crowned King of Kings. And that's where His Majesty released the word Nyabingi. The word Nyabingi is not a strange word. It's only that His Majesty speak it in Hebrew words. You know, but the plain word coming up by the first, when he was first here in the temple of Ios the Christ, at that first event, he speak very much of the commandment. You know, the I say in the first event say, keep my commandment and live. And he that destroys my commandment and walk not in my law is none of I. He that keepeth my commandment shall surely live, he that break my statute shall surely die. So the said word today, His Majesty returned in the second event and call it order of Nyabingi, which is the same ancient order of King Majesty, a righteous order. Righteousness exalt a nation, sin is a reproach to all people. So we have seen that this word Nyabingi is a very peculiar word. Even even in this land where I am today in England, I see that plenty brethren who really come to the knowledge of the faith, they rather to use this word federation than to use the word Nyabingi. It looks like say that I have suggest to the audience, so like say, well, they don't understand the word Nyabingi because they leave that and go and use another really just something you call society words. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we are to cling to this word that His Majesty will give unto us. God, there was not another one that released it beside His Majesty. I see that. And this order of the Nyabingi is coming on from before the foundation of the world. You know, from the creation was begun, according to Proverbs 8. You know, this order was given unto us, the order of Majesty, which is the commandment to guide each and every one today. You know. And it is mean that it is the order of righteousness. You see, so one must always observe the order of righteousness and see that you are walking in a perfect way. The scripture that he said, I say, he that walks in a perfect way shall survive. He that sown deceit shall not dwell in my house. He that telleth lies shall not are in my sight. You see, so the order of Nyabingi means speak the truth and speak it ever. Cast it what it will. For whosoever do the wrong, continue doing the wrong thing still. And if you do the wrong, you must perish.
Yeah. So how do you see the others? For example, the other groups of Rasta, like the 12 tribes. I can't think of the others.
I appreciate
a few more. There's a few more I can't remember.
Well, I appreciate everyone that comes to the knowledge of the faith. But it's a liberty, no troubling money ones. Because I've seen different group of Rastas really rise up and, you know, declaring, but it comes like in some organization and society, it doesn't open the field wide, you know, because the order of Nyabingi means everyone must come.
Yeah.
Leave hard what you have, you know, and come. This is not of no political way of life. We come to call with a clean and clean. We come to cleanse the earth with the power of the almighty words. The order of Nyabingi in righteous order, and come to bid everyone to live in a righteous way. And that's the only way that we can get our redemption. That's the only way that we can return to Ethiopia. For no man cannot return to Ethiopia in the second event when the Almighty shall set forth His judgment to terrorize the nation. No one cannot enter into Ethiopia unless in a righteous way. In this revival of the King Man of His Majesty, no one can enter in this King Man unless you walk into a righteous way and in truth. You see? So all these denominations and society and all those type of things that man want to take up the status and really walk in that manner is a very peculiar thing. I mean, we have to be forewarning and try to encourage our brethren and family, you know, of this tradition, because it's a peculiar way of it. It's not because, well, you are in the world, but they say, I am not in the world and we are not of the world. I sent you in the world and the world have hated you for my name's sake. So I say, I have sent you among the nations to learn of their ways and to their doings, but not to do after them. So we are seeing that man want to come within the tradition and have the tradition just like a man form a society, an organization. You see what I mean? And still don't really walk within the fullness of that truth, truthful reality, walk in the covenant. So you find that even sometimes like a confusion among us, even discussing matter among ourselves sometimes bring out a confusion, you know what I mean, that, you know. But it can be avoided, it just can't be avoided. Because, you know, from every time coming on a journey, you always find that us, our Savior, discussing matter among the scribe and the Pharisees, it brings confusion among them. He discuss matter among his disciples, sometimes they bring them contrary. You see, and to get them to really come up to the fullness of the light, you know, you have to sit up with them to show them great power and great light, you know. Moments. I see. Tester? No, he's not here right now. He,
Yeah, we will. Right, again.
That in the precepts of the now being the liberty.
Yeah. Did you
Yeah.
finish with that?
Yeah?
Did you finish with that?
No, when it comes on the precept of the being the liberty is that one have to be careful in what you're really doing within the world today. For the being the precept, because administration is to guide us. I don't know, it doesn't act like how the world really act in this manner, that a preacher will come here or a pastor or a teacher will say, tell you that free from you must free from sin, and to enter into heaven you have to really do righteousness. But a teacher never tell you, a pastor never tell you what is sin. They won't tell you say you must not sin, but they never tell you what is sin. But the precept of the Naya being the harder, telling people what is sin. As you have a 10 commandments there already, where everyone learn. From your being youthful days, they always teach you about the 10 commandments. Well, we have a million more than the 10 commandments. You see, every word in this prophecy is a commandment. Now, it teaches us from pollution. It teaches about pollution. It teaches about amalgamation. It teaches about fornication. It teaches about adultery. It teaches about idolatry. You see, and people leave those aside. Now, being the order is not a order that can be amalgamated. You cannot mix it with political system. But I say you're polluting the sanctuary of His Majesty, so that way you're polluting the world. Where you mix it with politics. We have seen that the man rise up today and try to raise people in this manner, and which in the political system of Babylon, and try to lead people in that step of a wrong way. We check upon, he even take upon a brethren here that rise up among I in the early stage, Bob Marley. He take it up and put into a reggae. And when you observe the word of reggae, it is not, you know, it means a denial. Yeah, you see. And he went out now from Jamaica and go all over the world administrating reggae. And for that cause, you find that this reggae spirit goes along, and the people, many people take on to the faith in that time, many one. Every plenty place I travel and says truly reggae, where I know where I know. But in the style and manner, watch what the reggae do. The reggae show the way of RasTafari to put on your locks, because my stay up and sit and shaking locks, and the people love that. Right? Really get along, little further, it causes a great amalgamation. It causes a great amalgamation. bring people really on a part of seduction. People don't come to they don't teach you the reality of the divinity of His Majesty. You're a Rasta man, have no locks, but you're in the dance hall, you're in the rum bar, you have a white girl with you. That is not of the faith. That is far out of the faith completely. That is called amalgamation, whoredom, you know, and prostitution, you know what I mean? That is far out of the faith. Fornication, it means you must amalgamate, you must take another wife or husband from another nation. And we are seeing these things frequently among our brethren, especially among the 12 tribes and the reggae brethren then.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a pollution of the faith. A compulsion outside business that. You still have the people showing the people a light of the dread.
Yeah.
But what about the cleanliness of life that you are to live? The eye says in Ephesians 6:5, he says, when one becomes a saint of the Most High, he must free from pollution, fornication, and adultery. We are seeing that I know you that this brethren is your husband, yet I will come and try to force myself just to get you through the lust of the flesh. That is bad life, and we are seeing this life. Brethren, this daughter among this brethren 2 days, and left this brethren and gone to that daughter. And this daughter left this brethren gone to this daughter. Bad life are living. Yeah, so we must not cover our brother, wife nakedness. We must not cover our father's wife nakedness. We must not lay with our brother's wife. We must not lay with our father's wife. You see? So when I look up in the whole thing, we see these things that are amalgamated things and mixed on business. So these are the purity now that Naya Bengali carries to purify these things. You know? To find yourself living with other nation. That's amalgamation. It's a mixed multitude that bring up on the field. That's what the enemy do unto us. By raping down Ethiopia, rape off our daughters, you understand me? And bring up a crossbreed type of people. Those are the giants that rise up among I and I. They're more cruel and wickeder than the white man himself. They rule with a, them get in position, they rule with a iron hand because they don't have a nationality. Them neither east, west, nor north or south. They have nowhere to go. And in the resurrection and in the kingman, setting up the kingman of the saints, they cannot be called as saints of the Most High. The saints of the Most High are supposed to be royal people. Royal people. If you are a pair of white people, is a royal people, and a pair of black people is royal people. So you have to heed that behind. But when you come within the mixture now, as a middle person, you're not no use. They are saying, when spew you out of the land. You're not no use in the kingdom. You can't minister the kingdom. You can't minister righteousness. For what you going to tell the people, say? You know? So this is royal foundation of His Majesty last year, and the Solomonical order of David, Solomon and David. You see what I mean? This must be kept very clean and perfect. You see? So that I and I can show the world the example in the which way the being the order come to cleanse and to cast out evil forces and to build ourselves international foundation as we were before from ancient time. You see, so you see within the order of His Divinity, of His Majesty, you see where the provocation rise. You must free from amalgamation. You see what I mean? And adultery and all these things, you know. Otherwise, you're still carrying your locks off when the time the hour come. You know what I mean? You just can't enter in. Because yes, you defile my covenant and pollute my name on the journey. So, what is your works? And I promise to pay the man according to your works, you know. You see? So, this is the foundation that we have today, that we have to face. And I say to cleanse our people from secret faults and keep back ourselves from presumptuous sin. So that in the days of the great transgression, we may have the opportunity to stand before the Most High. blameless, than those who are brethren than our Father, and say was blameless and spotless before the presence of the Father. You see, so these are the foundation that we have to really tread upon.
A greater understanding of Nyabingi.
Truly, that's hard on Nyabingi.
Yeah.
Yes, and you must not try to tell no lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, these are, and you must not steal. And you mustn't try to steal from your brother. And you mustn't take the faith and make a commercial living.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes. For anyone of doing these things is very terrible. If you want to know these things, you go in Ezekiel 30:37. You'll find that man, you come and take the faith and make a commercial living. Man, and that inside, so a merchant in Ezekiel says he make a merchant of the faith.
Yeah.
Like a merchant going to Ethiopia and rape down Ethiopia. Now you come and say, if you live for the people, you take the word of the Almighty and make a big merchant. Gaining out of it, a big gain. You live ambitious. 12 tribe, reggae, and all this is federation. And that I see the them doing.
Yeah.
Stretching the hand to be for a bag. Through the faith, through the name and through the word. They're still stretching their hand to Baal for a bag. And running down Baal for a bag. Again. You can't take a faith make a gain, man. You see, it is not to make a gain by it. You come to rise your people. That's why the Father gives you inspiration to edify your people, to show the people the wrong from the right. But today, one man may come now, you call a big bands of music and make a big dance. You understand me? And you go achieve and put in your pocket. The people still live in dormancy because they don't get no guideline. Your bar is still open. Your house is still open. You know what I mean? You go dance with any woman, you drink or eat with anyone. Same uncleanness. Same uncleanness. Same Babylonian life. But the saints of the Most are separated people. Yeah, I said to Moses, go tell my people, be separated from among them. So we are separated people. We are not a people in the world that mix up with other people affairs. We doesn't pollute ourselves in this uncleanness. That's the heart of Nyabingi. So plenty man count it to be too strict. And refuse to leave it, get him around the head. You see? So these are the things that stand before us today. You see? That the man who within the Nyabingi faith, with that determination, you have a great tribulation even among your brethren, you have tribulation among you want them to have locks, then you have tribulation more than what you have among the people who don't have no locks. For the people who don't have locks prepare to hear you. You know what I mean? But the man who have locks, him come as a contrary. Him contradict what you are saying biblically. Because what? Him gone and a polluted we already. And when the truth reaches him, he bring a stubble in his heart. These are the quality of things that they have in God that carries. So that, you know, that is the king divinity life, you know, the divinity of his majesty. And I must have to walk within that faithfulness to redeem the people, to redeem ourselves. Truly. So you see that we've gone on the journey quite a long time now, and many of us feel that we are working, but still some don't start the work yet. And my van long locks which you know what I mean. And you find the same colonial system out there on the street. You drinking rum and smoking cigars, same way as you pass down pants with a Guinness stout, Guinness bottle in her hand, a beer bottle in her hand. You see what I mean? Yeah. 3, 4, 5 girls, 6, 7, 4 women. You see what I mean? And those life is not the order of righteousness. Far out of it. If you're a saint, you must walk in the land among the people as a saint of the Most High. If you're a prophet, you have to show the people that you're a prophet. You must show the people the cleanliness of life.
Thank you. Could you tell us a bit about the role of Rasta women? The role of Rasta women.
The role of Rasta women? Well, it compares to the same thing, you know, because we have been seeing our sistering today have the same pollution. Man, you assisting today, you know, they just understand because the brethren then don't set that light in the right manner because I have seen that great struggle and ticklish things is among us because it needs something. In every different land I go, you'll find this type of struggle between sistering and brethren and, you know what I mean, or departing from one another sometime, a sister and brethren live together. Now you see a power like this, you see when you are in the world, you're just in the world. But now I say, I am in the world and not of the world. So when you open your eye open and you see this liberty, you must be a very different person, especially among the sistering. Now, as it given the law coming that a woman is supposed to marry more than one husband. If you want to be an ancient woman, you're not supposed to marry more than one husband. And if you case that you marry again, you have to wait till that if that husband die, then you're free from the law of marriage. You can choose another husband. But if your brethren, if that brethren man is still alive, you can't really go and marry a next man. Now, our colonial life teach us about marriage. Sometimes a woman spend all them days out in the world here, and when them becomes 30, 40 going up, they go join a church and seek about marriage. Now, probably that woman may pass through 2, 3 men already. You see what I mean? She become probably a prostitute. And yet she going in the church, but join the church and seeking marriage. Now, our ancient order is that when a woman or a man seeking a wife, you must always take a young virgin and call her your wife. In the ancient time, there was no opportunity for a man to just see a young daughter, and if you don't correspond with the parents and things like that, and if I touch her, you're dead for you. You remember those things? Yes. If you don't correspond with the parents and unity with the parents to say, I see that daughter, and if I touch her, and put you the law put you to death. Because such sin then doesn't want in the land. Because we don't want a whore and a prostitute in the land. Because when you go and defile that woman there to live at the flesh and depart from her, where you leave her to? When she right husband come now, what happened to her? Come find a polluted person. Now those laws we don't custom about. You see what I mean? So in the liberty of the sistering them, a man is that the sistering have to really take up this thing more considerable among themselves. Consider rewind it again. Because sometimes you go in here, you find this brethren here have 2, 3 people with this daughter here, and you leave him, and the man come take her up. This man come have another one picnic with it and leave her, and you know what I mean? Those things are bad life for living. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, if you take up your scripture, especially Timothy 6 and all them things, Timothy 3 or 5 and 6, you know what I mean? It is not right. It's very bad, it isn't right. Through the scripture, these things are not right. The law of our liberty, our commandment, that they are sure unto an eye from such time. We have to try to live it, and our sistering today, you know, these are the conditions of life. Sometimes when I look in myself, the grief I can know, say, well, you know, a one who have on a long locks, and you should know better, and still those are the things that you're still doing. You know what I mean? You see, so, you see, it doesn't, the judgment respond both sides, it does respond the brethren and the sistering. Because the brethren is the head, the man is the head. So he's supposed to, when he say anything that is go bad, he's supposed to put a correction to it. But instead of that man just running into it, just showing lust of the flesh. The greed is not man and lust of the flesh. A man just running into these things. You see a daughter and look beautiful in her and all them things. And you don't correct from our liberty, our living. You understand? Before you just rush and just When you're defiling, you're just going from defiling to defiling, and cause the woman may not understand what is the tradition and the liberty. She just takes her love and say, and that way, and you know, the whole thing becomes amalgamated. So we have to rewind ourselves again, you know. You understand? Because take upon our ancient father, Abraham. He married one wife, Sarah, and he never take her to Babylon. He never put on a ring on her finger. But the law, the Levitical law of Moses says, when you lie with a woman, is your wife. Do you remember the woman of Samaria? The Samaritan woman, when Christ meet the woman at the well side, and said, woman, give her some water at the well, and the woman said, but you know, a Samaritan woman have no deal with a Samaritan, have no deal with the Jews. If the Christ said to him, said, you know water after you, you'll give him water for drink. But Christ, the woman said, well, the well is deep and I don't want to draw the water. You understand? I mean, she said, Christ said, well, drink up my water. My water is the water that if you drink up my water, you'll never thirst again. You want to say, what? What kind of water that? But instead of she look up ahead now, she look down in her flesh. You understand? I can't say, but I must say, you know, you know, man business. So must say, I said, what's it? But Christ said to her, I said, how many husbands you have? And she kind of stubborn for answer. Well, Christ said, at least you have 5 husbands already, and even the very one that you have is not your one. You see what I mean? Yeah. You see? So we have to know what I can. Now the man now, the scribe and the Pharisees saw this woman, and threw them all lost after the woman too. So then carried the woman to Christ and said, you're a woman keeping adultery. And when they